Good morning, everybody. Jim Fleiss and Dave Koken here in Las Vegas. It's post-Super Bowl. We're 2 days removed. I think everybody's, they're still winding up talking about what they lost, what they won. There were a lot of bets. The props were incredible this year. And I don't know, there was like 1,000 different props, Dave.
Well, the props have taken over. I mean, that's where all the money's getting bet now.
Except for the better X. He comes in town, the guy's like 25 million ahead from the previous year and the World Series, and he loses $3.8 million on the money line on the Rams. And I mean, it's a big loss, but if you're ahead like 25 million, you're betting big and you're going to have big swings. A pretty incredible. I don't know, do you know the guy?
No idea who it is.
Yeah, he's a mystery man. Better X, they call him. Interesting story. I guess he shows up with a lot of cash, or he wires it in. I don't know. Do you have any idea?
No idea. No, I probably have less fascination with that than most. It's a big story for amateurs, but I don't care what people betting, so it's not my money, so I don't care.
Well, we got college basketball, and I know you're into the extra board, the added games. What do you see out there as the teams that were? I mean, do you look at it as on the added board in any way? Teams that might sneak up and get into.
No, I'm not looking at individual teams as much as I have some late season formulas that I use, and they tend to play to show up more with the added games. The smaller conferences like the Ohio Valley and the MAC, or the Mid-American, Metro Atlantic, Ohio Valley, I think I said the Southern Conference. Yeah, I produce more plays from those leagues going down the stretch. But I pretty much stick with the formula stuff that I've been using for years at this time of year, and it works really well. So that's where most of my action's going to be. It's not going to be in the glamour games, but I'm doing this to try and win. I really don't care who it's with.
And how's that been working out for you?
Been good. February's been my best month for a lot of years in college basketball, and it's off to a good start this month. So, I produced Marist last night. They won the game outright. So I stick with what works. If it stops working, I'll look for something else. But this has been my money in February, and I anticipate that it will be again. The lines on the big conferences, to me, are really tight, and it just doesn't produce as much in terms of situational stuff that I like.
I can understand that's a lot of focus on those teams, and people zero in and get better lines. You look down the board here and you go, we don't have much in the added or extra games tonight. We've got
not tonight. Thursday's the big night.
Okay.
So Thursday will be a night where I probably have a lot of plays.
Now, you also have teams that are not mainstream teams necessarily, like San Diego State, New Mexico, Utah State, Fresno. They're not the Kansas State, or Kentucky, Kansas, those type of teams. And then you get off into these other conferences like Drake, Loyola, and Ball State, Northern Illinois. Do your formulas work in those conferences as well?
It can. I mean, it just doesn't produce as many plays for some reason.
And why do you think that is?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Well, no, I do know. A lot of the stuff I do at this time of year is with bad teams, where there's value on bad teams, and you have more lower ranked matchups in the added boards from those smaller conferences, where you'll get the 200th ranked team against the 250th ranked team, and the line's just a power rating line, and I'm able to beat that.
Now, one of the problems with added games and extra games is not every bookmaker takes those.
You know what? It's 2019. Anybody who's dealing with bookies who don't have lines in those games is begging to lose money. That's their problem. I hate to be blunt about it, but if you're not up to speed in terms of having every game available to you, then you're not trying to win.
Well,
It's that simple. You have to have access to all the games.
There's really, and I agree with you, there's really no excuse for any bettor out there that wants to win to not get themselves at least an offshore account where people are putting those games up. And most of your offshores will put them up. So I'm not going to say all, because not all, but most of them will. So do a little shopping.
Well, at least the added board. I mean, I can see the extra games is something else, and I don't really do much with those. But the added board, you know, where the Metro Atlantic, the Southern, the Big Sky, you've got to have access to those. It's that simple.
I remember back in the day, Dave, it was impossible to get anybody to put lines up on those.
Yeah, well,
that was 30.
That's back in the day, which fortunately doesn't exist anymore.
Yes, it is true.
Look, it's way better now. When I hear back in the day stuff, it's like it is so much better for the players now than it used to be. It's night and day. I wouldn't ever want to go back to the back of the day, which was it was impossible to get information. You had to buy the newspaper and hope that they published late enough to have the previous night's box scores. I mean, that was horrible. There was no information. You were basically, there was no way to handicap on data. You just couldn't do it.
Anything in the NBA? I know that you're not a big NBA guy, but there's a trade deadline coming up, and there's some rumors about teams moving players and other teams maybe tanking. Any information out there on that?
No, I just follow it on Twitter just to see what's going on. And I guess Anthony Davis is going to determine where he wants to play, and that's the way the NBA is now. Part of the reason I have a distaste for the league. The players and their own general managers now, kind of a joke.
Well, that's true. The Anthony Davis trade sweepstakes, that's what they call it. And so,
He's going to end up with the Lakers. I mean, eventually he's going to end up with the Lakers. Right? You already know that. So he's basically forcing the teams, he's forcing the Pelicans to do what he wants to do. And I'm just not a fan of that. I have no problem with free agency, certainly. I mean, players, contract is up, he can go wherever he wants, that's fine. But this stuff where, this guy's under contract through next season. And he's basically demanding, and I'm not knocking him for it. I'd do the same thing if I could get away with it. But you know, he's got a year and a half left on his contract, and and he's basically holding the franchise hostage. By the way, you don't think it's damaging? They're going to lose that franchise. I'll bet money, and I'll bet a good amount too, that the New Orleans Pelicans do not exist in 5 years.
how about the Memphis Grizzlies? What's their status?
Thing.
What's
Same
it?
thing.
Yeah.
That's your future Las Vegas and Seattle franchises.
Ah, I see. Okay.
See, to me, and if I'm a New Orleans Pelicans fan, I'm done. The team can't ever win. They are never going to win a championship. Never. The way the league is configured now, there are a good handful of teams that are never going to win a championship. The best they can do is make the playoffs. Now, you know, that to me is not what professional sports are all about.
Well, it's you know, the rich seem to get richer in sports. I mean, I don't know what you can say about the New England Patriots and their domination, but you know, that you hear people talk about, and not to switch subjects, but it's pretty much along the same lines. Once Memphis loses Gasol and Conley, how are they going to keep their fan base? I mean, the fan base there, I mean, you know, it's impossible. So, I mean, you have teams, like you said, they're never going to win.
No, they have no chance to win.
So it's very difficult to be a fan when you have zero chance of winning, ever. And
I mean, if you're a fan, I guess you go to the games where star players come in for the other. You know, LeBron's in town. Let's go see him. That's, you know, a lot of empty seats for those games too. So it's a bad situation, but the league is league has put themselves in this spot. You cannot let the players, you can't let the inmates run the asylum. It doesn't work in anything.
I think they made them.
You know, it doesn't matter, we're talking about pro basketball, but it can be any business. Any business. Anybody who owns a business out there knows what I'm talking about. If you let your employees run your business, you can pretty much kiss your ass goodbye. Really, that's the way that it is.
When you talk about teams and leagues and possibility of winning and stuff, we have in the NFL, which is the Super Bowl is what the Super Bowl was, and we have a situation here with the Patriots do something that most of the rest of the league can't do it at least once. And they've gotten to the Super Bowl so many times. Now, granted, they're blessed with playing in the AFC East because the other three teams, they're all garbage. But, you know, they have a formula, and everybody tries to knock them, and they're jealous of them, and they have the Patriot haters, et cetera, et cetera. But I look at it the other way. What is it about them that we can try to do? I mean, why can't we try to get better instead of dragging them down?
I guess part of it is that you find a way to get Bill Belichick and Tom Brady.
But get them to retire.
Well, he's a better coach than anybody else, ever. And, you know, if you want, maybe the best proof of it is what happened this year. I mean, this is a team that all year long was a sieve on defense on the road. Terrible. And then all of a sudden, the games that matter against Kansas City and against the Rams, their defense was spectacular. So, you know, that's the Patriots.
And the rest of the league is just, I mean, granted, Philadelphia beat them in the Super Bowl last year, et cetera. I mean, they don't win every Super Bowl, but they get there. And that's something that most teams never do.
Well, I mean, this is a dynasty. It's a true dynasty, which we don't have. You know, the Warriors are a dynasty, but the Patriots are the dynasty. This 18 years, they've made 9 Super Bowls.
Absolutely incredible. Well, Dave, you've been doing very well, and so have I. And our selections are available at jimfeist.com. Go there, subscribe, register, you know, get involved. We have plays up there, articles, podcasts. Dave, anything you want to add before we sign off?
No, I don't have it. I have nothing as of now for tonight. It looks like a day off for me. I played just for fun, basically. It's Valpo, Tennessee, and Utah State in college. But there are no big plays there.
Well, I have 5 plays up. I do like the card. I play the added board and the extra games as well, but tonight I'm all in the mainstream board. And you can go to my website, jimfeist.com, and you can get those. And I'm sure Dave will have stuff up there tomorrow. Anyway, thanks, Dave, for your time today and your input. And everybody out there, we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Thanks, Dave.
See you, Jim.